Why is the metronome going? Can you turn that off?
Welcome to More Than Missionary. We are your hosts. I'm Kristina.
I'm Ashley.
And on today's mini episode, we are going to be talking about Tantric Sex.
I know nothing of this Tantric Sex. When you were doing your kinky facts, it's something that you found and you wanted to do a Minisode on it, and
Yes.
I want to learn.
Yes. No, it's definitely something that I am very excited to talk about. When I was a college student, strolling through the internet, I saw something about Tantric Sex, and I remember really being very interested in it. It became almost, like one of those like ADHD, like niche hyper interests that you like start to learn about just because you think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And so that was one of those for me, and it's something that I've also practiced as well with my partner, with my husband, and I think it's something that like more people should be more aware of, because it's there's not a lot of words to describe like the experience that you have while like doing it. So I definitely wanted to do an episode on that, and I kind of wanted to just start out with like, what is Tantric Sex? Because I mean, for those who like don't know what it is, it's like, sounds like a weird, sounds like something freaky. I don't know.
Yeah, when you first came to me and you're like, oh, I really want to do an episode on Tantric Sex, I was like, okay, I've never heard of that kink.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I just assumed it was like a kink. I didn't realize like what it was.
Yeah, so actually, I'm excited that I get to talk to you about it today, because I feel like you are somebody that likes to connect your spiritual life with your sexual life, and this is something that I think you would very much benefit from, because it's all about that.
Okay.
So, Tantric Sex is an ancient practice that has spiritual and erotic roots with Hinduism and Buddhism backgrounds. Tantric Sex is a part of the Tantra spiritual path. So, like, people who have heard of the word or the phrase Tantric Sex will, like, something that has popped up with that or is related to that is the Kamasutra.
Okay.
Which is what many people see as like a big book of sex positions. And like, yes, there are sex positions. That is not entirely what it is, and we'll get into that. But it is something that I would say a lot of people are more familiar with. Like a lot of people's favorite positions come from the Kama Sutra.
Okay.
So something else that is related to that is also the lotus flower. So if you look up tantric, or like tantric pathway or tantric sex, a lot of the times it's like a couple being intimate with like sitting on a lotus flower. And the lotus flower is often symbolized in tantric and represents masculine meeting feminine energy, and roles can get maybe switched as the energy flows regardless of your gender identity. And it's another way to look at it is almost like meditative sex, and the reason for that is because tantric is focused on connected energy. Okay. So like, if you're interested in tantric sex, I would say I would only do that with somebody you trust, more than likely like your life, a long-term relationship, lifelong partner, somebody you are very closely intimate with. Because it's like, once you open up that door and you do this, it will like, you become incredibly connected to the person that you are doing it with. Because it's like, you like, you transcend, okay? Like,
so,
it's...
Is this something that both parties have to be aware of?
Yes.
Or is this something that somebody could technically like sex magic? Like, technically you can perform sex magic without your partner knowing. It's not ethical,
yeah.
but
I would say no. Like, then it's like, based off of just what I've researched on it and my personal opinion, no. You can't do tantric sex without the other person knowing. And it's not like a shame, don't do tantric sex without the other person knowing. It's more like then you're not performing tantric sex, because the whole point of it is to have connected energies with that other individual. Okay. Like, if they're blocked off and they're not receiving that, then like it's one-sided. It's not flowing. There's no flow to your energy with like having sex with that person at the time.
Okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and kind of like I was saying, so tantric sex is focused on connected energy, including your sexual energy, on a spiritual and physical basis through each individual. So a lot of the times, a lot of people will start tantric sex with just like sitting across from one another and just like looking into their eyes and breathing, or like it starts out that way and then maybe you're like holding hands or you're moving closer to each other. It is something that is incredibly slow progressing. Okay. It's also something, like, if you're gonna do it, you need to set time aside. Like, there's no 5-minute tantric sex, like, at least that I'm aware of. Anytime that I've done it or have read up on it or have watched videos about it, it's like, sometimes it can take several hours. It can be, like, days long if you're, really up for a challenge.
I don't know, I think that's the kind of, like, tantric sex I want. Like,
yeah, it's very, like, and also, like, the end game of tantric sex, like, is not orgasm. It's not to, like, finish. Yeah. Because the whole purpose of it is about connection. And, I mean, listen, I've done tantric sex, but I'm like, I'm a girl who likes to finish, okay? So, like, I'm not going to do that without any extra gratification. I do a version of it. I'm like, if you do orgasm, like, that's fine. It's not against the rules by any means, but I think a lot of people do it just for the basis of connection. And I'm sure in some people's religious practices and spiritual practices, maybe they don't, but I am not one of those people. I know many people who don't. I think adding elements of tantric sex to your sex life with a long-term partner is something that is very invaluable. Like, something you really a lot of people can benefit from. Okay. And a lot of couples can benefit from. The other thing, too, is that tantric sex is something... It's what happens after connection has already been established. You have to already know the person. That's why I'm saying, like, if you're going to do it, it should probably be with a long-term partner. You can't really, I guess you can pick up some Joe Schmo on the street to, like, do tantric sex, and I'm sure you could get to that point of connection. The other person must be receiving of that, though. Because, again, it has everything to do with the connection with the other person. Yeah. And the energy that would flow between you two. I said it before, but yes, it's incredibly slow pace moving. I mean, I think for me personally, the longest was maybe 3 hours. But it doesn't feel like 3 hours. Like, you're not paying attention to how long it is. Yeah. Like, you'll just like realize at some point you're like, oh my god, it's been several hours.
But like, I don't know. I mean, like, I think that about like genuinely good sex can be like that.
Yeah,
anyways.
I completely agree. This isn't like, oh yeah, like tantric's the only thing where you're gonna feel like time is moving. Like, no, that's just sex in general. Let's be honest. Good sex, yeah. So, and there's a lot, too, that it has a lot to do with your senses. So, tantric sex, I love to try to include the majority of my senses in it, because you want to stay really in the moment, right? And that's why you kind of start off like with just breathing exercises with your partner and looking at them and just making eye contact. And at first, like the first time you do it, you're probably gonna giggle a little bit, and like, 'cause it's like you're just like sitting there like naked, essentially sitting across from your partner, not doing anything except breathing and staring into their eyes. And it's like, when you first do it,
I have to cut you off.
Yeah,
because you're talking from firsthand experience.
Yes, but this is also a common practice.
Okay, so lights are completely on because you have to like fully see your partner.
Okay, yeah, so here's the other thing. I like set the vibe. You want to set the mood. Anytime we've done it, and I've done that, has been like, you know, low lighting. Maybe I just have a lamp on with some candles, a Himalayan salt lamp, perhaps. I think candles are a wonderful use of low lighting.
Okay.
Just enough to be able to see the person. The other thing too is like adding like music. You can literally go on YouTube and find like tantric sex music, and it's like
I just like
hours
don't want to
long.
be seen that much. You know what I mean? Like you can see me, just don't see me that much. Like
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, like I said, like low lighting is your friend. Then you know,
Yeah.
if you don't. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care to have sex like in bright light. So I think you know what I mean. I don't.
Yeah,
I
me
would.
either.
Even with just like regular sex, like
Yeah.
like the most vanilla sex ever. I'm like, I'd rather have like low lighting, dim lighting. It also sets a mood. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like sensual and sexy, and like you definitely. It's so intimate doing tantric sex. So you want to have that vibe set for you and your partner. You know, I always like to make sure our space is clean. Maybe I've like energetically cleansed the space. If you know, are pagan or you're into witchcraft, like some people will, like myself, like I've done some sort of herbal cleansing, smoke cleansing in the space, and then you know maybe I'll light a candle with a specific intention, right? And that's setting the mood, and with you know, like I said, playing music, low lighting. Maybe if you want to have, maybe if you're not a fan of candles, maybe you have like an aromatherapy diffuser, just something nice and mellow, right? So definitely like set your mood if you're going to be participating in tantric sex with a trusted partner. So the other thing too, and I kind of had mentioned this before, but make sure you and your partner like know going into it, you know, really what to, you know, have some sort of an idea of how you'd like to start it. If you establish whether or not, if you're like, yeah, like we're not gonna not get each other off, you know what I mean? Like if you want to orgasm, make sure you guys both know that. Like if you're going into it just to experience tantric sex and not orgasm, like you can definitely do. Many people do that. Maybe they wait days before they end up having sex afterwards to like really suspend that gratification. And it's almost like it like involves like edging, but like in a spiritual manner as well.
Okay.
So after you know, establish that connection, maybe you take a couple minutes to just like breathe, right? You're looking into that person's eyes, and maybe you're slowly getting closer. Maybe you guys are just holding each other. Like, you know, maybe you're just like rubbing up and down their arm. Or my favorite thing to do is to like, you know, give, you know, full body massages to each individual. Like that person gets a turn and then I get a turn, you know. I think the use of like massage oil or baby oil or lotion or, you know, something to help with that too. And I like to do like I said, full body. I'll start with like feet, ankles, legs, whatever, work my way up, okay? Flip them over, do the other side. Like it's all about connection, and it's not like you need to even talk, right?
Okay.
It's very like, sometimes it's very quiet. Sometimes it's just like, you can blindfold the other person if you want to, you know what I mean? Just so you can have that, almost like that full power of being able to kind of get to know their body, right? Mm-hmm. Without, you know, having eyes on you.
Yeah.
And then same for the other person. If they're blindfolded or like they can't see something, then it's, you know, they're just experiencing the sensations that's happening, right? And it's so, and then you do that, and then like maybe you switch, the other person does that, and then after that, that's when you can kind of, I don't know, free reign to do what you want, right? If you want to stop there, you can. You want to keep going, you can, right? I like to keep going, personally. So that's kind of, and with that kind of involves, like I said, the Kamasutra. The term Kamasutra comes from the ancient Hindu textbook written in Sanskrit about erotic love called the Kamasutra. Very little is known about the author other than his name. I have a very hard time. I know I looked up how to pronounce his name, but I have a feeling I'm going to botch it again, so I sincerely apologize, and I'm just going to spell it out. It's Vatsyayaana, so Vatsayana,
Okay.
And then the last name is Malanga, Mallanga.
Okay.
And it was written, the book itself was written probably sometime in the 3rd century. So it's very, very old. And if you haven't heard of the term Kamasutra, you have probably heard of some of the positions. Like, some people's favorite positions are in the Kamasutra, like doggy style, missionary, cowgirl, like those all come from the Kamasutra. Okay. You know what I mean? But we'll get into a little bit more of those in a little bit. And so, contrary to popular belief, the Kama Sutra is not only a book about lovemaking and different sex positions. It covers other topics such as the art of living well, the nature of love, finding a life partner, and taking care of your love life. The sexual concepts that most people associate with the Kama Sutra became known in Western culture at the end of the 19th century with the adaptation of the Kama Sutra manual by a British explorer named Richard Francis Burton. The Kama Sutra was written in an abstract and vague form of Sanskrit, which has made it hard to accurately translate to modern English, and it's made up of 1,250 verses that are split into 36 chapters. Wow. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but kind of focusing a little bit more on like the sexual aspect of it right now with our topic of, tantric sex. So. Yeah. Personally, it is one of my favorite forms of sexual gratification, sexual experience. Okay. Anytime it's brought up to participate in it, like, I get giddy. Like, I'm like, okay! Like...
So... Is this something, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, is this something that when you found this, did you initiate it to Gabe, or yes. Did Gabe initiate it to you?
I initiated it to Gabe. I actually have a distinct memory of, being I was in college, and I remember we were talking, I think, over Snapchat. and I sent him a message with a link about tantric sex, and all I said was this is very interesting, and that's all I said, and I was there's no way he's not going to read it based on the frickin' title. So yeah. He read it, and I remember we had talked about it for months, and here's the thing, this was my mistake. I'm so glad it worked out the way it did. We were not officially dating at the time. We had known each other for a hot minute, but we weren't dating at the time. Yeah. But I I really trusted this person, so of course I'm gonna talk to them, and I've known them for a while, so we were talking about it like that, and then then it eventually came to fruition. So, but I'm glad it worked out. I would not recommend doing that with somebody you are not romantically involved with in an official or really connected way where things are gonna be okay afterwards. Yeah. But it is definitely so I had brought it up to him, and we had talked about it for a while before doing anything about it. But it's something that has been invaluable in our love life.
And now this is something he initiates with you?
Yeah, it's very mutual. Okay. Sometimes I'll ask, or sometimes he'll ask. I mean, it's not often. It's not something that listen, nobody's got all that time in the world as much as we'd love to. We really treasure those times that we are able to do something like that. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. Do you have any questions other questions that you have about tantric?
I think you did a really good job of describing all of that. Can you explain a little bit more about the end goal spiritually?
So the whole point is, like I said, it's about connection. It's about becoming close with that person. If, I feel that my love with Gabe is so much stronger anytime we do that. It's so connected, and it's so in the moment that you're hyper focused on what's going on around you. It's a lot easier to, not disassociate is not the word I'm thinking of, but to wander off mentally. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is common with most people that have been in long-term relationships. Like, not every time you have sex with your partner is going to be, like, the, amazing. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody perfect. We're not all on our A game, okay? I can admit that. But, and it's like, there have absolutely been times where, like, my life is busy. I'm, and my brain might wander a little bit. And it's like, nope, stay focused. And I know that is something that is common amongst a lot of women. Mm-hmm. When you're doing tantric sex or performing tantric sex, it is like you are fully in the moment. By the time you get to that point in the process of it, you are in the moment. You're not, your brain is very hyper interested in what is happening right in front of you. And like I said, it is a absolutely wonderful way to connect with your partner if you guys are both receptive to it. So I definitely Kristina approved, and if that matters to anybody.
Can we get, like, stickers that, like, have Kristina approved? Like, little...
I hope people are aware that is 100%, like, just comedic. I do not think my opinion really matters about most things. I don't think... listen,
I'm just kidding. I don't take myself that seriously.
I don't take myself that seriously. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to.
That's why it's funny.
Maybe,
neither one of us take ourselves seriously at all, in any capacity.
I love talking about these things, but, like, I'm like, listen, like, I am just some Joe Schmo from the street, so,
We're just a bunch of goofy goobers here.
We're a bunch of goofy goobers and
scooping it up,
and bitches that Google. So, so that that kind of just about does it for little Minisode. Unless there's any more questions that you have.
Personal question. Not that all of my questions haven't been personal, but what is your favorite position out of Kamasutra? Because I'm assuming you read some of the Kamasutra during your research.
Yeah, no, I did. Honestly, I think 69 is, like, the best position for it. It's very yin and yang, but there's so many positions that I like, so it's really hard for me to pinpoint. Yeah. It's, like, it's like certain positions are great for
evoking certain emotions.
Yeah. Like, think of it, it's, and, there are also a lot of positions within the Kamasutra that, like, I do find to be a little intimidating, as far as flexibility goes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of yoga aspects to it, and there's a lot of positions in the Kamasutra that, like, don't require any flexibility, and you're fine. Like, anybody can participate in tantric sex with Kamasutra positions. Honestly, sitting with the person as well, like, almost like, I don't remember the name of the position. See, that's the problem. I don't know all the names of the positions because there's a lot of them. Like, your partner is sitting on the bed and you're sitting on your partner and you're facing each other.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, almost like you could, like, crisscross your legs around their back.
Yes. Okay.
So I think that's a really lovely and intimate position as well. Because that's, like, something where you could, like, stare into their eyes, or, like, maybe, like, my hand's on their heart and their hand is on my heart, or, like, however, that might transpire. But like I said, it is something that is incredibly intimate and a really beautiful way to connect with somebody. Mm-hmm. In tantric sex while you doing all that.
You know what I wonder, and I'm only thinking about this because of the fact that, like, I've been on this crazy self-love journey. Yeah. And I've had to do things that are really uncomfortable, like look at myself naked in front of a mirror, and that's okay. I didn't know how hard that was. That's very hard.
Yeah. I mean, if that's something you are not comfortable with, then that is uncomfortable.
Yeah. We hear about all kinds of different ways to, like, masturbate to create, like, self-love for you. Yeah. I wonder if there's, like, a version of tantric sex for self-love.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. I know there is. I just don't know enough about that specific part because, like, I've only done that with a partner. Yeah. But, I mean, it probably is. That's that would be another really good mini-sode.
We should do a follow-up on this.
About, like, self-love. And tantric sex, yeah. I'd like to do something like that.
Tantric masturbation? Cool. Is that what it would be then?
Probably. We could look it up. There's
the Google.
We're bitches that Google.
Okay, well, I think we'll save it for the next one. Yeah. Well, that's going to force us to have to do a follow-up on this.
Well, yeah, that'll force us to do the follow-up. And if we don't remember, please tell us to do it.
I seem to have memory issues.
Yeah, so I guess that's our episode on our Minisode on Tantric Sex and just like the basics around it and why I think it's important.
Good job, Kristina.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, again, this is More Than Missionary. I'm Kristina.
I'm Ashley.
And if you want to reach out to us with any comments, questions, concerns, or ideas that you have for us, you can email us at morethanmissionary69@gmail.com. That's morethanmissionary69@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening.